श्रोताओं, मैं मुकेश गंभीर, डायरेक्टर रेडियो बूस, आज अपने विशेष मेहमानों के साथ स्टूडियो में प्रस्तुत। साथियों, मैं अक्सर ये कहा करता हूँ कि हमें जीवन के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में जो भी महारथी नजर आते हैं, हमारा प्रयास रहता है कि हम उनको अपने स्टूडियो में बुलाएं और आप लोगों से सीधा रूबरू करा के उनके अनुभव से आपको भी परिचित कराएं, ताकि आप भी जीवन में अधिक से अधिक जागृत हो पाए। साथियों, आज अनुराधा जी के सौजन्य से हम एक कश्मीरी जेंटलमैन को अपने बीच में पा रहे हैं। मैं चाहूंगा कि अपनी इंट्रोडक्शन अपने नाम के साथ, अपनी क्वालिफिकेशन के साथ आप हमारे श्रोताओं को बताएं। बाकी बातचीत जो हमने आपसे अब तक की है उसके आधार पर मैं साथियों सिर्फ इतना कह सकता हूं कि एक छोटी सी उम्र में एक अनुभवी व्यक्ति आपसे बात कर रहा है, एंड यू विल फाइंड ए वेरी वेरी मैच्योर हेड ऑन यंग शोल्डर्स। सर, प्लीज आप अपने बारे में स्वयं बताइए।
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Really appreciate.
You can bit loud. Yes.
Okay. First, let me acknowledge कि आप लोगों ने you gave me this opportunity to talk to you.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah. And secondly, I think thanks to Anuradha as well, because of her I got introduced to you.
Yes.
So, to my background, right, sir, I have a slightly typical kind of a background, right? I started from a government.
With your name, please.
My name is Rakesh Kachru.
Yes. Rakesh Kachru.
Yes. Originally, I am from Kashmir.
Yes.
Right? So, I was brought up in Kashmir. I was part of the turmoil that I personally witnessed what happened in the late 80s, right? And then I have been in that part of the world for quite some time, predominantly my youth age, right? I started from a government background. Then I moved to IT sector, more towards consultancy background.
Okay.
So I was privileged to work for places like Wall Street.
So in other words, you had the background of a engineer who did graduation in IT sector.
I did my engineering. I did my MBA.
Okay.
Then I had an opportunity to work for a government organization from a police background.
Okay.
So I completed my police. It's a kind of academy trainings and all.
Okay.
Then I worked for some few years in that background, and then I eventually moved to one Wall Street. So I worked in Wall Street during the crisis that happened in 2007-2008.
Okay.
Then I moved to different places all over the world. So in US I worked a couple of states. Then I moved to London. So I worked in Canary Wharf for one of the biggest regulators of the world. Then I moved eventually to Canada, and I am in Canada for almost now 13 years.
Okay.
I'm a citizen, and this visit was more because of my personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got an opportunity to meet you guys as well.
Okay. So, Rakesh ji, we will not talk much about the situation at Kashmir, how it emerged and how you have faced that difficult time. But I would just like you to throw some light that we have been hearing all around that more than 4 to 5 lakhs people were evacuated from Kashmir.
Yeah.
You were one of them.
Yes.
Okay. So all the properties, everything was left there without any warning, without any given opportunity, and you people were asked to vacate your houses, and you came out of that.
Okay. So let me put it this
Yes,
way, right?
yes.
I think what has happened in Kashmir, I would put it like this is unprecedented. This has never happened in any part of the world.
Yes.
There is no evidence in history or prehistory. Now,
Okay.
why I'm saying unprecedented, it's the reason I'm saying it's unprecedented, it's because like we were maybe 3% or 4% of the population of that piece of land, which is Kashmir.
But it happened in 1947 as well.
1947, not to that extent. Whatever was left, right? 1947, obviously, there was a bigger partition, right? Almost 2 million people lost lives. But why I'm talking about specifically Kashmir and why I'm saying this is unprecedented, I will qualify that. The first reason is 1989, almost 99.9% of the population, 100% of the population was uprooted. Okay, so it happened one fine day due to n number of reasons, right? And it was on the ground. People, it was brutal. We don't go into the graphics of that because obviously I don't know what is your audience and how much they can actually absorb it. But it was brutal. So it happened in 1989. So we were 3% of the population. 99.9% of that population was uprooted. We came to different parts of India, predominantly Jammu, thinking, okay, today, tomorrow we will be back. Nobody thought, okay, it's something where you will permanently end everything. So months passed by, years passed by, governments passed by, right? Different kinds of center, state. We saw all kind of flavors of India, right? And if we talk in realistic terms, in what actually practically has happened on the ground, from our perspective, from Kashmiri Hindu perspective or Hindus perspective of Jammu and Kashmir, nothing substantial has done now. What you are seeing in media and all, it's event management, it's propaganda. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay. That's the bottom line bluntly. Now, let me qualify why I'm saying it's unprecedented. We were 3% of the population. That means 300,000 or 400,000 or 500,000 of that region. All of them were uprooted. India is a 1.4 billion people, right? Majority of them are Hindus, right? Give me an example from prehistory or history where majority of a nation are uprooted, are in exile for almost 30, 35 years and nothing has happened. There were brutal events or incidents that happened, murders, rapes and all. And none, there is not even a single that has, for which prosecution has happened. And it has not happened till this day. That's why I'm saying it. And you won't find any example in history. Now, more importantly, I think our theme was towards, we wanted to talk about human mind.
Of course, we'll be coming to that. But I intend to tell my audience that here is a gentleman who has gone through such hard time. And in spite of that, what I have spoken to you and got the answer from you, I feel that still you are aware of the importance and role of the mind and its working and its calmness, whether it is through yoga or by other technique. It helps in life.
Yeah.
I think that is our main issue on which we are going to talk.
Sure.
So I'll request you to now please illustrate that part which I feel that is your asset, that in spite of all these difficulties, you were maintaining this aspect of your personality.
See, I think I give that credit to my parents, obviously, and more importantly, more than that, it is to our upbringing as well, from a Kashmir point of view, right? See, our history is thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
At minimum, we have recorded history, which is like written, right, for 5,000 years. And the epicenter, if we talk about modern knowledge, institutionalized, formalized knowledge system, the epicenter for that is Sharda.
Okay.
right? Which is Sharda. Currently, it's in POK,
Hmm.
right? Pakistan occupied Kashmir, we call it. They call it Azad Kashmir,
Hmm.
right? That's what Sharda is.
Hmm.
But what was Sharda about? Sharda was all about mind,
Hmm.
right? That knowledge.
Hmm.
How you can actually tame the knowledge. How they can attain a spiritual state, which is fourth level or fifth level. Average human being is always in a third level kind of a state,
Yeah.
right? I can explain it more, but
Ah.
not to digress. So that knowledge, its origins are from Sharda. So what that knowledge is, from as a layman, because I'm not a scholar, I'm just an ordinary person. As a layman, I will try to explain it in very simple terms. See, I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah.
You are listening to me,
Yeah.
and I am speaking. I'm not 100% with you. You are not 100% with me.
Yes. Yes.
Right? What that means is, when I'm speaking to you, between our conscious and subconscious mind, all the time we have thought, right? That thought process, which is technically an electrical pulse, it keeps going at different places. So if you remind just 10 seconds, parallelly as I'm speaking to you, you are listening to me, you have a thought process which is going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right? So human mind, it starts with a thought process. Thought process, the end state, as I said, thought is an electrical pulse. The end state is what we call aura and magnetic field. So what that means is every human being, you, me, all of us, are vibrating at a frequency. What we don't know, because we can't see by our eyes, right? What we don't know, what frequency we are vibrating. And there is a major set of frequencies. There's a frequency range for spirituality. There's a frequency range for love. There's a frequency range for anger. There's a frequency range for hate. Right? So how does that happen? Okay, I'm oversimplifying it. So it starts with the thought process. Thought process translates into a state of mind. State of mind translates into what we call as action. Because
Anuradha, I'm reminded of, sorry to interrupt you, there was a film in which Amitabh Bachchan is a hero, and he's trying to talk to somebody, and quite often he speaks a dialogue कि जहाँ मैं खड़ा हूँ वहाँ से जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ तुम्हारे अंदर का जो लालच है वो मजबूर कर रहा है तुम्हें मेरे सामने इस स्कीम को रखने को। तो वो बार बार वो बात कहता है जो आप कह रहे हैं कि जहां मैं खड़ा होके तुम्हें देख रहा हूं। सो एवरी इंटेलेक्चुअल, एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग हैज a standing and he can vibrate with the other person having his own standing, his own vibration, his own receptivity.
Right.
And this is how the dialect of the word goes on. Thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. Without knowing that this process is going on, but normally,
we interact.
Yeah, we interact. Please.
Yeah. So what was I trying to speak here is, we land up, state of mind lands up us in actions. So that's how we perform. Sometimes we will get angry, that kind of a thing. But then the next state for that is about your character and behavior. Right?
Okay.
With actions, it becomes your behavior. If behavior becomes a kind of a pattern for you, it becomes your character.
Yes.
Right? But it started from a electrical pulse, which is a thought, and it translated into a magnetic field, which is the aura. That's why different people have different range of energies. Some people have tremendous amount of, you sit with them, you feel attracted to them. You look into their eyes, you get deep into their eyes. Right? But why does it originate? It originates with the thought. Now, what happens what is the biggest mistake all of us as a humans or as an average people make? If we are spiritual, if we are religious, what we try to do is, we try to control this thought process. See, the essence, the purpose of going to a religious place, if, for example, we are going to a Shiv Mandir or all, it's to attain that energy field where you can focus.
Okay.
Right? And what is focus? Focus is you are observing your thought. You are not controlling it. So we are directed, every religion directs us to actually, when you go at a religious place for a namas or for a, you light a candle for a Christ or no, the intent is you control your thought process and focus in there.
Yes.
But what typically happens is we go there, but our mind is at our thought process are all over place. So we don't focus, right? The moment we start observing that thought process, we don't start controlling it, it will align. It will align towards focus. The moment we start controlling it, it will never align. That's the fundamental kind, I won't say mistake, but kind of a knowledge gap most of the people have. And what happens, because for every action there is a reaction, for everything there is a kind of end state. So if I had to simplify this, the end state is what typically some of us know as Kundalini, which is a yoga, right? So within our body, we have chakras. Typically, we talk about 7 chakras, but it's actually 108, right? That is why we have a mala of 108.
Yeah.
Okay? So what happens the moment you start observing your thought process, your Kundalini starts activating. But what is this Kundalini actually? See, when a child is in the womb of a mother, right? Mostly you will see for our old people, or in fact, we might have also experienced. We say he has a consciousness. Speak good things, talk good things, don't be angry and all that. Why? Because he is in a conscious state, right? Medical term for that conscious state is, that's a gland. It's called pineal gland. And religious term, if we talk from Hindu mythology, it's Shiv ki tisri aankh, jo bolte hain. Tisri aankh. But it's a pineal gland, which is within the lobes of our human brain. Right? So the moment child is in the womb of the mother, okay, that gland is active. The moment he starts getting towards the consciousness, to the world affairs, that starts becoming dormant. And what is that dormant? The manifestation of that is what we see in Shiva. If we go in our religious places, Hindus especially, in fact, it's not Hindus, it's in every religion, even if you go back to what you call African and all, which is the oldest civilization known. Taurus, Sai, and all those, these are all manifestations of this whole, what I am discussing with you. So basically what is, it becomes dormant. जो कोबरा होता है, शेषनाग होते हैं, वो कुंडलिनी जब, right? It goes down, and it goes like this. That is how it becomes dormant. When the child starts getting into the conscious state, which is this worldly state. The moment you start observing this Kundalini starts getting activated. So your first chakra from the private parts, next to the navy, third here, fourth here, this starts getting activated. And how do you feel? What kind of activation happens? Okay, again, I'm giving you an example as a layman.
these are only the glimpses.
Yeah.
एक सवाल मेरे बार दिमाग में आ रहा है. I'm not able to concentrate till I get the answer.
Yeah, sure.
We are talking a lot about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So has it overpowered this Kundalini?
Artificial intelligence it has to do with human mind.
Is with brain only?
No, how our brain functions, that is how we write algorithms in artificial intelligence. This is a very great question. Okay, let me explain. But we have to first understand how our brain operates. Okay, human brain operates like, again, I'm putting it loosely. It's like a tree. How is a tree? It starts with a root and then it expands, right? And you get steams and all. It keeps on expanding. Okay. A person who is very high in the kind of intelligence, IQ and all, this human tree would be very big one, right? It will be indexed. What that means is he can retain anything very fast, right? So he builds with an experience, with all this experience. See how humans operate is, why are two people different? Why I am slightly different than you guys? You guys have a lot of background. Sir is like, he's retired from a very, very high post. Why his experience is very different than mine, or someone else is very different. That is to do with truth. Okay? So by truth, what we mean is, it's by definition, truth is only three things. It's about your past experience, it's about your belief, and it's about your expectation. Okay? So I may go slightly with an example of Fidain. Right? If you see his mindset, his psychology and all, he blows himself and goes and kills. And if you see a psyche of a soldier who goes and in those kind of situations, it's same. Mind state is same. Only way of looking at the thing is different. Same thing, two people are looking very differently. Both are ready to sacrifice their life. But what is the difference? It's the truth. And what is truth by definition? It's your past experience. It's your belief.
Or you have been trained like that?
Past experience means your mind is being tamed like that. Training is nothing. That training is basically you are taming your mind. Past experience, belief, what you believe in. Soldier believes in something about his land. That Fidain believes in, okay, this is my land. Right? And then past experience, belief and expectation. His expectation is different. His expectation, that's where we have the conflict. But basically it's about truth. Right? So how our human mind operates is, it's like a tape recorder. When we are born, we are like a slate. Blank slate, right? What we get to our mind is what we learn. And we learn with our experiences, with our upbringing, with our surroundings. Right? That influences our scientifically, right? You can, I have also learned it over these years. Scientifically, it's proven 60% of what we are from our genes.
Okay. Anuradhaji, I would like you to associate yourself with this discussion. You have been teaching to your students such things, making them aware on the basis of the Bible or otherwise from your experience as well. Whatever he has said, don't you think that all these things have mentioned in a different language in the Bible? And if I go further, even Gita speaks of almost similar things.
Right. Mind is very important, as he said that if you come to a state of that kind of mind, where I like the story when he was talking about developing the sixth sense, and I tell it common sense. Like the sixth sense is a gift
you can
to us.
name it any way.
I feel that common sense, and also in terms of brain, it is known as when I do the behavioral study, it says the situational awareness.
Yeah.
So the situational awareness only comes when a person is alert. So in case of people who are depressed and mental sickness, they lose touch from the situational awareness, and they are not aware about the surrounding anymore. That is where depression hits, because they hallucinate, they lose mind. So mind is such a machine. I feel like it's a gift from God, and it's the CPU of our system. And if mind is not in place, then no matter how talented the person is and no matter what good background they come from, it's all waste. So I think what he's talking about, the mind, is a very important subject for all of us. And I think if we can master the mind, many people say that if you can master the mind, then we can master everything else. Just like when we go to a gym, we discipline ourselves, then automatically the muscle growth happens and body comes in shape. Same way, when we master the mind, all other things of life will, I think, come in line. That's what I feel.
I will. Please. Maybe I will just try to relate it with an example. You see, Buddhism.
Yeah, I was coming to that. Anyway, please.
So Buddhism, what does Buddha mean? Buddha means awareness about mind. That's a religion. So what does that awareness means? You have to just observe, don't control.
Yes.
Okay? What happens with that? I was trying to relate it with maybe synthetic drugs, heroin and all that. What happens when somebody takes that? Okay, most of the majority of the people don't go into all this kind of shit, right? If I use that word. But an average person, say for example, he takes whiskey on the rocks. How does he feel? He feels like kind of a fire within the belly, right? It may last only for a few milliseconds or seconds, but he feels that fire. Multiply that infinity times. The moment you start observing your thought and all, your kundalini, your chakras will start getting activated. Once they get activated, you will be in that state all the time. What happens with hallucination drugs and all, synthetic drugs and all, or heroin and all, your mind, these neurons, they start like timpering. And at that point in state in mind, say for example, I am right now in this hall. If I am 1,000 kilometers from this place, can I see this, all this like this? Right? At that point in time, whatever you can, I'm talking about the end state, you will visualize it exactly the same way. Right? We all of us human beings, normal human beings, are in 3-dimensional worlds, like kind of there is a fourth and there is a fifth dimension. These spiritual gurus are in that state. That is where when they put hand on someone or they give a word, it could activate your kundalinis, it could activate your chakras. You can get into that. And there is numerous incidents, evidences, right? Numerous spiritual gurus who will talk about this, who will tell you it happened because of this. I went to this place, that guy put hand on me, or he just looked at my eyes and I reached to that state. So what happens in that state? You can have evidence of that if you go to Ladakh, our part of world. Our ancestors, especially, that's why we were called Pandits. Actually, technically, if you see, you won't find, in Kashmir, there is nothing like everybody is Pandit. Everybody is a Kashmiri Hindu. We don't have casteism. We don't have the what typically or traditionally you will see rest of the India. But the reason why we were that way, because we were aware how to make this aware. See, if you see the Gita Sar, what it is, what is the net of the Gita? It will say you, Nirbhay and Nirogros. What is Nirbhay? It's fearless. You be a fearless. What is taught to a soldier? You be fearless, right? What is taught to a feather? He doesn't have any fear. Nirbhay and Nirogros. Nirog is what? Be disease-free. How can you become disease-free? You can become disease-free if you are observing your mind. So what happens? What is stress? We understand these terms. Everybody understands these terms, but we don't relate it with practicalities. So what I mean by that is, say, what is stress? Stress is when you are observing, when your thoughts are not within your control. So what that means, they are repetitive in nature.
It's a condition.
It's
Stress
a
is a condition.
Condition is basically when something comes repeatedly to your mind and you cannot control it, that takes a lot of energy. Stress is a state of mind where you have repetitive things to your mind, which you feel like they are not within your control. Okay, so it drains a lot of your energy. And if you are in that state continuously over a period of time, that's the end state for disease. So cancer is kind of a disease, right? But the origination is stress. And stress has something to do with your mind. Right? So you control your thought process, you won't have stress. And there are therapies which are purely where they won't give you any medicine. They will talk only about how you tame your mind, right? And then it will take your stress out. You will become normal.
This is an important point. When we control the stress, even cancer can be healed.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chemo. What is chemo? It's an energy that's like radiations in a controlled fashion. So what does it do? Let me touch a very, very important topic, right? And then I take it to people who have suicidal tendency or who are under depression, right? See, human mind, as we are designed, or nature is designed in such a way, it's in synergy. What I mean by that, if you look at these leaves or plant, it's artificial, but if it is natural, it will follow a sequence which is called Fibonacci series. 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 1 is 3, 3 + 2 is 5, that kind of a. What does that mean? If you take a rose, take the petals out. It will exactly follow this 7, 9, whatever it is. Take any flower. Okay. Similarly, if you take a tree and you look at the roots and leaves and all, they will follow a Fibonacci series. Precisely, their roots will be like that. Okay. So what I am trying to say is nature is like that with us. If you talk about, I talked about 108, right? If you see, when we talk about astrology and all, human body is 70% of water, rest is. When you talk about seasons, what happens with the seasons? The attraction moon, right? It takes water, high tides, low tides, and that eventually translate it into seasons. And that seasons are in such a way for thousands of years, they are exactly following that pattern. So basically it's a pattern, right? Similarly, if you talk about how our planetary system is, obviously everything is revolving. Day, night, right? So something is revolving. So you need energy for that. Where is that energy coming? So that energy is coming because there is a pattern. So precisely, there's a mathematical equation. But you can Google it. Like it's 108. The number first is 108. Then 5. Then whatever equation is. That is the distance between sun and moon and earth, and the planetary system. It's exactly precise. So it goes here and there. Then that is the end of universe. So I was talking about one thing which is Gyan of Gita. That is Nirbhaita Nirobros. Right? Nirbhay is become fearless. So that is, when will you become fearless? When you are in the present state at this moment. That is golden. How you can become at this moment, which is golden, when you observe your thought. See what happens with our thought. Either you go in the past or you go in the future. So what comes with that? It becomes uncertainty. You become worry. Once you start worrying, it changes your state of mind. It changes your state of mind. That gets into stress.
True.
Right? And what is depression? Depression is when there is no hope. Right? And when there is uncertainty. Uncertainty you will have in abundance. But no hope is it's not very common.
Staying in the present. What I'm learning from this conversation is staying in the present. Living in the past is not good. Living in future brings anxiety. So staying in the present is the thing that we should be doing to keep our mind better. So that will save, I think, from people from depression.
There have been in literature one ism that is जिसको क्षणवादी कहते हैं. आप उसी क्षण में रहो, in that moment where you are. So it is known as existentialism as well. So आपका अस्तित्व वहां पर बना रहे जहां आप रह रहे हैं. It is more a theoretical proposition than a practical one. Right. Because mind is always
going somewhere.
Yes. Either it is in the past or in the future.
I think that is where we need to master our mind.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think Rakesh ji has given us a beautiful analysis.
Yes.
And the wonderful thing is that having such a background, such a checkered different career, he has emerged to be a one concrete whole, which is normally not seen, because I have seen people having split personality after going through such different experiences. But I think this is appreciable aspect, and
yes.
I think any last message and word you would like to give to our audience?
I think what I would say is human life.
Yeah.
I gave this example when we were talking, right? When we go to a hospital in a situation which is which is critical kind of, they put it, if I'm saying it correctly, on an oscilloscope. So they monitor your heartbeat all the time.
Yeah.
Right, sir? So what happens when you see that heart, it wins like up and down and up and down. Right.
Right.
My experience of whatever journey I had so far, right? You will always have roller coaster in your life. Everybody will have. That's nature.
Yes.
Okay. The key is when you are at the bottom, how well you will respond at that. Because the next point is up. If that won't happen, then there is no life. You don't have charm in the life. So if that oscilloscope stops, like it becomes a straight, you're dead.
It's true. Wonderful example. And on behalf of our studio and on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you.
Thanks to you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.